Okay, testing on the very last problem. Problem E. We're going to change that. I'm going to show you how to do something very useful because this is the problem that you will have on your test. Well, not exactly, but one nearly identical to this. I would make sure that you know how to do this, okay? Let's put it that way. So let's suppose that we wanted to find an equation for a line tangent at x equals 1. What two things do you need to have in order to find an equation for a tangent line? You need to have the slope, and you need to have a point on the line. Now, what's the x value for the point on the line? 1. How do I find the y value? Plug it into my original function. So f of 1 would be 2 times 1 minus 5 over 2 minus 1, right? Are we okay there? Yes, I decided to change the problem to help you out. So we're going to find an equation for line tangent x equals 1. So therefore, I need to find a point on the line. I know x is 1, which means that y is, in this case, negative 3. Okay? Now, how do you find the slope of the line tangent? You take the, starts with a d, rhymes with derivative. Okay, that's what the derivative does. It finds the instantaneous rate of change at a given point. So, when in doubt, derive the function. In order to derive this, I need to use the quotient rule. Okay, now I don't have to simplify the quotient rule after I use it. I just need to find a derivative, so then I can find the slope. So, watch what's going to happen here. I'm going to rewrite it so that we can understand it better. F of x is equal to 2x minus 5 over 2x to the negative 1 minus x. Is that better? Okay. I have to use the quotient rule. A for the day. What is the quotient rule? Over g squared. Good, you guys got the idea. So I take the derivative of the top, which is 2 times the bottom left alone, which is 2x to the negative 1 minus x. Minus, so I got to take the derivative of that, which is negative 2x to the negative 2 minus 1 times 2x minus 5, right? Over Now, hold on. See, this is what I want you to understand. I don't want to put a problem on the test that simply tries to practice your algebra skills. All right, we've done that. See, it's all around the room here, right? And we've done a lot of other problems. I want to test to make sure that you know how to use the quotient rule. We just did the quotient rule, right? The rest of it is algebra. Now, I want to be able to find the slope. So what do I plug in for x? I plug in 1. Do I have to simplify it before I plug it in? No. So let's just plug in 1 to this so we can come up with the slope. So forget about the simplification. Let's just plug it in and see what we come up with. Okay? So I'm going to have 2 times, what is 1 to the negative 1? 1 times 2. 2 minus 1. 1. Kelly, do you see that again? I'm going to plug in 1 for x. I have 2. And if I plug in 1, 1 to the negative 1 is... No, not everyone. Just in this one, I'm asked to find an equation for line tangent. So therefore, I just need to come up with a slope. So forget about simplifying it. Let's just come up with a slope. That's what I'm doing. So if I plug in 1, I get 2 minus 1 is 1. Minus, what is 1 to the negative 2? 1 times negative 2 minus 1. negative 3 times, what is 2 times 1? Minus 5 over, let's plug in 1. What's 1 to the negative 1? Times 2 minus 1 squared. See what I did? I saved myself the algebra. I don't need to do all the algebra because I just need a value for the slope. This comes out to be 2 plus, 2 minus 9 over 1, which is, so what did we just find? The slope. So now I need to find the equation for the line. I use y equals mx plus b. So my y value is negative 3 is equal to my slope, which is negative 7, times my x value, which is 1, plus b. 4 is equal to b, so you have y equals negative 7x plus 4. Boom, is right. How could I check to make sure that that is 100% accurate? I could graph it. Now, it would take us a little bit of time, and I don't want to do that right now because I want to save on your time for asking questions, but we could plug that into our calculator, graph it, then graph the tangent line, and check at the point 1, negative 3 to make sure that it is in fact tangent, and then we would know we did it correctly. So you can check these answers. In fact, I have you do that on your study guide and on your test. It's not necessarily a problem as complicated as graphing that, but you should be able to take a graph that we know how to generate a graph for and graph both the equation and the tangent line. And yes, you can use your calculators for that assistance. The idea is I want you to check your answer. We're going to skip F because you guys know how to use the quotient rule. We just did it here. No sense making use of it again. Flip it over to the back side. This is an excellent problem. I love that your book has these type of problems, and this is what I try to use as well, is we are going to test to make sure that you know how to use the following rules. We want to find f minus g prime of 4, given f of 4 is 3, f prime of 4 is negative 2, g of 4 is negative 5, and g prime of 4 is positive 2. This looks confusing, but it's not. Watch how I make this happen. We know that this is the same as f prime of 4 minus g prime of 4. We learned the other day that if you want to take the derivative of two functions that are subtracted, you can simply find the derivative of each and subtract those values. What is f prime of 4? Negative 2 minus, what is g prime of 4? Positive 2, which gives a result of negative 4. That is our answer. If I want to find the sum, I would take f prime of 4 plus g prime of 4. What is f prime of 4? Negative 2. What is g prime of 4? So that gives me 0. Now, we know that f times g prime, can we simply find the derivative of each and multiply them? No, what must we do instead? The product rule. So we will take f prime of 4 times g of 4 plus g prime of 4 times f of 4. I promise you have a problem like this on your test. It occurred to me that there's a problem in your homework I need to take off, or you need to do it if you want to be able to possibly handle an extra credit problem I might put on there. Do we have to divide by anything for the product rule? No, so we simply identify these pieces. F prime of 4 we stated was negative 2. G of 4 is negative 5. Plus g prime of 4 is 2. And f of 4 3. So that is what I evaluate. 10 plus 6 is 16. Done and done. Is that making sense? Does that test to make sure you know how to use the product rule? Yeah, so it gets rid of the algebra, make sure that you understand the rest of it. So that's a good check for me. And then the last one, for f over g prime, I can't simply find the derivative of each and divide them. Instead, I have to use the quotient rule, which is f prime of 4 times g prime, or I'm sorry, g of 4, minus g prime of 4 times f of 4, all over g of 4 quantity squared. And so now I go through that. F prime of 4, negative 2. G of 4, negative 5, minus, what is it? G prime of 4 is 2 times F of 4 is 3. It's the same as the product rule on the top, except you have a minus sign instead of a plus, divided by G of 4 squared. Negative 5 quantity squared. So that's what we're trying to evaluate now. Once we simplify that, we'll have our answer. 10 minus 6 over 25. 4/25. Any questions? Questions going once? Twice? Genetics. Same way I got to be so good looking. Some are just luckier than others. Okay,